This is a video lecture or our first lecture on introduction of course, that is digital technique and microprocessor. This is for third semester information and technology. About myself, I am S.T. Kumbhare, lecturer electronics engineering at Government Polytechnic, Gondia. If in between my voice is not audible, let me know so that I will try to rectify it. Okay, so this is the teaching and examination scheme given by MSBT. So if you observe for this course, we have 4 hours theory. So within a week, we'll have four uh, sessions like this. Then at the end, you have to appear for a theory paper of 70 marks. Out of this 70 marks, you have to score 28 marks on paper, and that will not pass you the course. You have to cover this 30 marks also. This 30 marks is for PA, which include two class tests. We normally call it as sessional of 20 marks each and 10 marks for micro project. So if you score better in micro project because that is easier one, that will help you to pass the course because at the end this 70 plus 30 will be of 100 marks, and out of this 100 you have to score 40 marks. So even though you score 20 marks on the paper, you have to at least score 12 marks in this out of this 30 marks. So just concentrate on the sessional as well as micro project. Micro project is of 10 marks, so you can easily score 8, 9 or 10 marks if you do the micro project properly. So this sessional and micro project is of importance. Don't take it lightly. Then from practical point of view, there will be end semester exam of 25 marks and 25 marks for continuous practical. Okay. Then rationale. So basically why you have to study this course. So this is, if you observe around you, you will find that this is a digital world. Also, you are studying in information technology program. So information technology means you have to handle lots of data and that too in digital form. Now, how this data to be handled? So in order to do that, you have to have the basics about digital electronics and microprocessor, because again you are going to process data which is fetched from processors or some other sources. So that's why this course is very much important from your side, and it is included in your curriculum. So to know the fundamental of digital electronics, this is the first thing. Then to understand the concept of microprocessor and its application, so we'll see what is microprocessor and what are its application. Again, in practical, normally you handle computers. So computer has higher level processors, but again, all these processors are dependent on this basic microprocessor, that is 8086. Hence, you have to study this processor. If you know uh, inside of this microprocessor, you will be able to handle the higher level processors very easily. So that's why this microprocessor needs to be studied. Then to be conversant with components of microprocessor and microprocessor based system. Again, this will help you out in its applications. Then to help student to design logic circuits. So with the help of some digital components, we are going to design a logic circuit. Then to understand the architecture of 8086 microprocessor. So in this course, we are going to see the 8086 microprocessor. Before before working on it, we will see its architecture, because all of you are aware that in our daily life also, before building a means before basically a manufacturing of a building, we normally go for a architecture of the building, because that gives us the insight of the building. So that's why we will see architecture of 8086 microprocessor. Then to enable student to develop assembly language program using instruction set of 8086 microprocessor. So with the help of again instruction set is one of the important thing which we need to study, because from the childhood now what we had done, we had seen lots of languages like Marathi, English or Hindi. What we did first we understood the alphabets. After that we had and we understood the words, and after that we had written the sentences, and using that we can write down multiple paragraphs or different things. So here this instruction set is similar to words for this 8086. With the help of this instruction set, we can write down the program. Basically in this instruction set, it comprises of multiple instructions with the help of which we can write down different programs. That's why this instruction set understanding is of much more important. Then course outcome. These are the course outcomes given by MSBT. Now, what do you mean by course outcome? This digital technique and microprocessor is a course. So at the end of this course, means at the end of this semester, what you are going to do with this understanding, that is nothing but course outcomes. So you will be able to test the digital systems, logic families and logic gates. You will be able to construct combinational logic circuit, sequential logic circuits. Then you will be able to use registers and instructions of 8086, and you will be able to develop assembly language programs using 8086. Now what is this? That we'll see in upcoming lectures. These are the practicals which are suggested by the MSBT and that we are going to perform. Here you can observe star marks on some of the practical. The 02 is nothing but the number of hours required for this practical, and star represents that compulsory practical. So whatever practicals there is no star, it means these are optional, but still we will try to perform it. But compulsorily we have to perform these star practicals. So whenever session will start in the institute, we will perform the practicals. First of all, we'll do the star related practicals, and then we'll perform the unstarred practical. So there are 16 practicals, and normally we have 16 weeks of session. So in every session, we will perform one practical each. Then these are the parameters on which I'm going to assess your practicals. So you have to be careful. If you design a digital circuit, or you can say program, then you will get 20% weightage out of 25 marks on each practical. If you implement it properly, you will get 30% weightage. For program output, means if you show me the output of the program or practical, you will get 20% weightage. It is a in percentage, okay, in terms of percentage out of 25 marks. Then for Viva voice, means whatever Vivas or question answers I'll ask, for that there is a 20% weightage, and within time if you submit with neatness, you will get 10% weightage. So like this, you can have 25 marks distribution. These are the major equipments which are there available in our lab. So normally we will perform the practical in 102B lab, that is digital electronics and microcontroller lab in electronics and telecommunication department. So you will observe all these things and will perform on all. This 1 to 8 is nothing but practical number 1 to 8 requires these things. Practical number 9 to 16 requires these things, and practical number 9 and 16 again require these things. So basically these are required for digital electronics, and these are required for your microprocessor practical. Now, from theoretical point of view, unit number 1 to 3 is related to digital electronics, and unit number 4 and 5 is related to microprocessor. We'll see a bit about this. So this is unit number 1, that is number system, digital logic family and logic gates. This unit is year 1. So we'll see all these things. Then unit outcomes. So these are the unit outcomes. So again, at the end of this unit, what things you will be able to do, those are mentioned over here. Okay, these are unit outcomes. Okay, those things are mentioned over here, and these are the topics and subtopics which we are going to cover. So one by one we will take it. We'll see all these things in detail. So okay, this is related to unit number 2, that is combinational logic circuit. So basically it deals with the course outcome 2. So that you will see. These are the unit outcomes and these are the topics which we are going to see. Again, this is easier unit uh, which you can score a bit. So you have to concentrate on this. So whatever techniques I will teach you, you have to remember and apply it. Then this is unit number 3, that is sequential logic circuit. So basically it deals with the unit outcome 3. These are the course outcome 3. These are the unit outcomes related to that, and these are the topics which we are going to cover. Then this is unit number 4, which is related to microprocessor 8086. These are unit outcomes, and these are the contents in which we are going to see. Again, this unit 4 is very easy because it is related to theory, and you can easily score this also, because uh, point to point questions will be asked on this unit. So that is means you can get a good marks in this unit also. This is unit number 5, that is assembly language programming. So basically it deals with programming, and I hope all of you are from information technology program, so it will be more easy for you to do the programming. We will use MASM and TASM, or there is a tool available in lab, that is DOSBox, which is open source. So we'll perform practical on that. So this is related to theory. This is basically mark distribution of uh, all units. So unit 1 has 16 marks and unit 5 has 16 marks. So unit 1 and unit 5 is having highest weightage. So you can score more in this also. Uh, then equal distribution is there for unit 2 to 4. These are the suggested micro projects given in your curriculum. You can perform any of this, or if you want, you can search on net. You will find lots of micro projects available there, and that you can execute. If you need any assistance, I'll be there. I will solve your queries and will perform the micro projects. I expect that in a batch there should be maximum 2 students, because since this is a micro project, you can perform the size of micro project will be less. So make a group of 2 students. Someone has turned off. Okay, fine. Then these are the learning resources, means books which you have to refer. So I recommend you that Modern Digital Electronics by R.P. Jain is the best book which you can refer for digital electronics, and Advanced Microprocessor and Peripherals by Bhuchandi for microprocessor, that is unit number 4 and 5. I again don't use TechMax Nirali because that has lots of errors. So better use reference books that will give you uh, more insight about the things. Okay. So thank you. If you have any queries, you can ask me on this, whatever we have covered till now. Otherwise, we can go to the next PPT. If anyone is having any doubt, please ask, unmute yourself and ask. Any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. So you don't have any doubts. What I will do, 1 minute. Okay, so that is introduction to number system. This is the first topic from the course Digital Technique and Microprocessor. This is an important one also. So background in this we are going to see background of number system. Uh, Terms like bit, byte, nibble, decimal number system, binary number system, octal number system, and hexadecimal number system. And at the end, we will see number system relationship. So these topics we are going to cover. Now, outcome of this presentation is differentiate between terms bit, byte, and nibble. So you should be able to differentiate these terms because most of the time we find that students are not able to differentiate this, and this is the basic of digital electronics. So at the end of this presentation, I hope all of you will be able to differentiate these terms. Then if I give you a number, you will be able to identify its number system. So these are the outcomes of this presentation. Now, background of number system, how this number system come in picture, that is the thing. Uh, just wait. Background of number system. So, what happened in the ancient world or in the past? What happened? Uh, People were used to uh, keep track of things or events by drawing lines like this. Let's take an example. Suppose, uh, again, this example I had given in past also. So suppose my one of my friend, or if I went to the market and uh, again come back to the home, and like this lockdown, if we are not able to go outside, what we can do, after each day we can draw the line. So for if one day gone, I can draw one line, another day gone, I can draw another line, and for each passing day I can draw the lines. Suppose after few days I again go to the market. Suppose after this many days I go to the market, and I met with one of my friend or colleague, and okay, we had some discussion in that if it comes that after how many days I went to the market, what happens? I can say that okay, after this many days I went to the market, but this is a bit irrelevant to say. So what we have to give? We have to give the names. So name should be there for each and everything. So what we did, we had defined, or someone had defined the number system where they have given names to each of these events. So let's say this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, this is 7. Now I can say that after 7 days I went to the market. This is now appropriate. But again, this is so now in English, we can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is a number system. This is one of the number system, and there is different name for the number system. Means the these numbers in different languages. For example, in English we are saying 1, 2, 3, 4, but in Marathi we can say 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. Okay, so in different languages, numbers has different names. One more drawback of drawing such type of lines is that if we have a larger number, then we have to draw that many lines, and that creates a bit problem for counting, as well as it takes more space for counting. Okay, so that's why from here this number system came in picture. From childhood, basically we are using decimal number system, but no one told us because that was not required at that point also. But this is the time where we have to study the number system. So there are different number system. From childhood, we are studying decimal number system. Now again, each number system has a base, okay, or radix. Each number system has base or radix. For example, decimal number system, we have a base equal to 10. Got it? So, technique to represent and work with numbers is called number system. Okay, basic, right? Because we are working with numbers. Then in any number system, there is an ordered set of symbols known as digits. This is important. In each number system, we have digits, and with the help of these digits, we can make the numbers. Collection of these digits make a number. Now, for example, in decimal number system, we have digits like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, so on till 9. After 9, we don't have any digits. So there are 10 digits, 0 to 9, because it has a base 10. Okay. Now with the help of these digits, we can make the number. For example, if I say 123, then this has three digits, 1, 2 and 3. But overall this is a number. So in any number system, we can have different numbers, and those are found with the help of digits. So number has two parts, integer and fractional. For example, let us say if I say 10.23, okay, 10.23, then this is integer and this is fractional part. So left hand side of this dot or decimal point is integer, okay, integer, and right hand side of this decimal number is fractional part. Got it? So this is decimal number system where we have seen integer and fractional part. Let's go to the next slide. Now we are going to see four number systems, that is decimal number system, binary number system, octal number system and hexadecimal number system. All are positional value systems. Why these are called as positional value system? Because depending on the position of digit, its value is defined. For example, let's take in decimal number system, let's take an example 123, whatever we have taken previous. Again, this 123 is a decimal number. So decimal number system has a base equal to 10. Now with the help of this base, we can define the value of each position. Again, this one is at 100 position, 2 is at 10th position and 3 is at unit position. How we have said this? Let's take, I will write down 10. Every time we will start with the power 0. Base will change, but power will start from 0. Next time I will say 10 raised to power 1. Next I will say 10 raised to power 2, and so on. I can continue. Right now I need only 3, so I have written 3. 10 raised to power 2 is nothing but 100. 10 raised to power 1 is nothing but 10. 10 raised to power 0 is nothing but 1. That's why I say 1 is also known as unit or unity. So 3 is at unity position, 2 is at 10th position, and 1 is at 100th position. Now, if I separate these digits like 1, 2, and 3, and if I multiply these digits with its positional value, I can get its positional value. So 1 into 100 is 100, then 2 into 10 is 20, and 3 into 1 is 3. Now I have to add these values, positional values. What I will get? I will get 123. Okay, 123. Tray board. Got it? 123. Similar thing happens in binary, octal, and hexadecimal. Binary bi means 2, so it has base 2. Octal, so it has base 8. Hexa, that is 16, so it has base 16. So with the help of this base, we can find positional value of each digit. And if we multiply digit with the value, we will get its positional value, and if we add we will get a number. So that's why these all are called as positional value system. Let's see in detail. I will just erase it. Okay, now differentiate terms bit byte and nibble. This basic thing which you have to remember as well as understand. Instead of remembering, you have to understand. Now bit, it is a short form of binary digit. Okay, BIT. So BI come from binary and T come from digit, and this forms a bit. So bit is a short form of binary digit, and it is the smallest unit of data in a computer. All, I hope all of you have gone through this, or you have heard these words somewhere. Now byte. So if you club such 8 bits, that will form a byte, and if you club 4 bits, that will form a nibble. So this is the basic difference. Bit is single bit, byte is 8 bits, and nibble is 4 bits. Okay, so you have to keep this thing in mind, or you have to understand this, the basic difference between bit, byte, and nibble. Now the next. Now, let's go for decimal number system or understand it. Decimal number system is most common number system which we are studying from our childhood. Okay, when we go to the nursery or standard mathematics, first they tell us the numbers 0 to 9, and after that we'll start developing numbers from that. So it has a base 10. Depending on this base, we can understand how many digits will be there. Since its base is 10, there will be 10 digits. And these digits are nothing but 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. After that, so 9 is the highest digit in this decimal number system, and 0 is the lowest digit in this decimal number system. Now, with the help of all these digits, we can form the numbers. Okay, and its positional values we have just now seen. That you have, again, look, everywhere we are starting with 0. Then binary number system. Now one question can come in mind: if we have decimal number system, then why we need binary number system? What happens, we have digits 0 to 9, and with the help of these numbers digits, we can form the numbers. Now if I want to transmit this 0 to 9, okay, if I want to transmit this 0, 1 up to 9, okay, what I have to do, I have to have different levels for the each digit. For 0, I can have one level, and 1 I can have another level, from 9 I can have another level. Let's say from 9 I can say 9 volt I want to transfer. Now, this is digit, but if I have different numbers, again, keeping track of these 10 levels while transmission is very difficult. So we need a simple solution for this, and that simple solution is given by binary number system. Okay, because in binary number system we have base equal to 2, so it has two levels, 0 and 1. There are two numbers only starting from 0, the next digit is 1. So we can transmit this 0 with one level, and we can transmit this one with another level like 5 volt and 0 volt. Since there are only two levels, this is much more useful for computers. It has only two states, 0 and 1. 0 is mostly set as off, 1 is mostly set as on. Now, theoretically, it is okay that 0 is transmitted with the help of 0, but 0 volt or 0 ampere current. But in practical, it doesn't happen. Zero state, that is off state, is not actually no signal, because if we are saying 0 volt, it means no signal, or 0 ampere means no signal. But we can't do that. We can't send 0 volt because there is, let's take an example. Suppose I have a line, I want to transmit 0. Suppose if I send 0 volt, at the reception end, I may get 0 volt. Let's say in between this line is broken. Still I am getting 0 volt, correct? Because if line is broken, I will get 0 volt. Suppose next time I sent 5 volt for 1. Okay, suppose I send 5 volt for 1. But since line is broken, I will get 0 volt. Now there is a problem. So if I'm sending 0 volt for 0, and if line is broken, I will not be able to identify whether line is broken or it is actual 0. So what is done for 0? Normally we send low signal, that is either 4 milliampere or uh, like that some voltage like 20 millivolt, like that we can send some low voltage. Okay, so this thing happens. We have different protocols. Let's take a field bus protocol. What happens in that? For 0 we normally send 4 milliampere. Okay, and for 1 we normally send 20 milliampere. Signal can be sent in the form of current or in the form of voltage. That thing you have to keep in mind. It's not always voltage. It can be current or voltage. So now if line is proper and I'm sending 0, I'll get 4 milliampere. If line is broken, I will get 0 milliampere. So I will understand that there is some problem in the line and I can rectify. So this is the thing. I hope all of you understood this thing. Now, binary number system, again similar to the decimal number system, we will write down the base and we'll start with the power 0, next 1, 2 raised to power 2, and so on. Now, let's take an example. This is a binary number 11010, and I want to find its decimal equivalent. What I can do, I can place these values at individual position. Then I can, now since this is 0, its weight is 2 raised to power 0, so no need to multiply because I know anything multiplied with 0 is 0. 1 into 2 raised to power 1 is 2, 0 into anything is 0, so no need to multiply. 1 into 2 raised to power 3 is 8, 1 into 2 raised to power 4 is 16. Now I can add this, so I will get 26. So this is the decimal equivalent of 11010. Got it? Now, from binary number system, memory is basically measured in terms of bits, how many bits it can store. So this is important table. All of you should remember this or understand this, because most of the time we are not able to differentiate or we are not able to understand what it means. So 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. Just now we have seen 1 byte is equal to 8 bits, and 1 kilobyte is equal to 1024 bytes. Now why 1024 bytes? Why not 1000 bytes? Again, we have the base 2. 1000 is normally said in decimal because 10 raised to power 10 will give you, sorry, 10 raised to power 3 will give you 1000. Okay, in decimal, in binary number system, if you draw, if you take 10 power of 2, that will give you 1024. That's why this 1024 come in picture. Okay, in decimal, 10 raised to power 3 will give us 1000. So this is different. Keep in mind, in decimal you can say 10,000, 1000. For kilo you can say 1000, but in binary you have to say 1024. Okay, so 1000, 1 kilobyte is 1024 byte. Similarly, you can go forward. Next, octal number system. Again, octal. So it has a base 8. Since it has base 8, there will be 8 digits. Start from 0, it will be till 7. Its positional value is can be calculated as 8 raised to power 0, 8 raised to power 1, that is base raised to power. Okay, let's take an example 726. You can separate out digits and then you can multiply it with its positional value. 6 into 8 raised to power 0, 2 into 8 raised to power 1, 7 into 8 raised to power 2. And if you add it, you will get 470 as the answer. So this is the decimal equivalent of this. Then hexadecimal, similar again, hexa 16. So it has 16 digits starting from 0 till 9. Now someone may say, sir, why not 10? Why A? We have digits A, B, C, D, E, F. Question may be like, why not 10, 11, 12? Again, if you observe, if I write down 10, what happens? This 10 has two digits, 1 and 0, which is here. So that's why we can't write down 10. Instead, we have given alphabets A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, 11. This is 12. So what we did, instead of writing down 10, 11, 12, we have given the alphabets in order to differentiate between number and digit. These are the positional value. Let's take an example, 7FB. So if you multiply, again, you have to separate digits and then you have to multiply it with its positional value. So B into 16 raised to power 0, F into 16 raised to power 1, 7 into 16 raised to power 2. Now B is 11, right? So 11 into 16 raised to power 0, that is 1. So 11. F is 15, 13, 14, 15. 15 into 16. So 240 and so on. So this is the decimal equivalent. Next. Okay, this is the last topic. Next, number system relationship. So we can have a relationship between these. In hexadecimal, if you observe, till 7, hexadecimal, decimal and octal are same. For 8, we have different number for octal. Why? 7 is the highest digit in octal. So after 7, you have to roll over to the lowest digit. So that's why after 7, you will get 0. And since you have rolled over from highest digit to lowest digit, you have to take a carry. That's why 1 0 and 1 1 and so on. Similarly, you can find again hexadecimal has separate digits. In decimal, again 9 is the highest digit. So if you want to roll over from here to 0, you have to take a carry and then 1 0 and so on. And then you have to continue. Okay, so like this. This applies to the binary also. Again, after 0 you have 1. After now 1 is the highest digit, so you have to roll over from 1 to 0. Since you are rolling over, you have to take a carry. Again 0 1 1 0, you have to again take a carry. So if you take a carry, 1 plus 1 is 0 and there will be one more carry and so on. So like this, you can write down the binary. There is a simple trick in this for writing down the binary. Since binary has a base 2, okay, we can write down 2 raised to power 0, 2 raised to power 1, 2 raised to power 2, and 2 raised to power 3. Now 2 raised to power 0 is 1, 2 raised to power 1 is 2, 2 raised to power 2 is 4, 2 raised to power 3 is 8. What you can do, after one digit you can change the bit. So if I want to write down, what I can do, I can write down 0. Okay, I have to change the bit 1. Again I have to change the bit 0. So after each digit I'm changing it, right? 0 1 0 1 0 1 and so on. So on I can write down. Here 2 is there, so I have to write down 2 times 0, then 2 times 1, then 2 times 0 and 2 times 1 and so on. Here it is 4, so 4 times 0 and 4 times 1 and so on. Here it is 8, so 8 times 0 and 8 times 1. If you observe this, you can find it 0 1 0. So after every single digit it is changing, right? Here 2 0 2 1 2 0 2 1 and so on. Here 4 times 0 4 times 1 4 times 0 and 4 times. Here 8 times 0 and 8 times. So no need to remember this binder. Okay, if you have this trick, you can. So you have to just remember this, or you have to understand this. If you understand, and this is also simple. Binary, it has base 2. You can start with the power 0 and you can increase. You can find out the power easily, and then this will help you to write down the binary. I hope this clears to all of you. Thank you. Now it's time to assess yourself. Already I have shared this link with all of you. Once again, I will share this link with all of you so that you can attempt the quiz. Those who have attempted, uh, those who wants to attempt it once again, they cannot. Means those who have already attempted, they cannot attempt it. But those who have not, they can attempt it and check your knowledge. These are the references which I have used in Modern Digital Electronics by R.P. Jain. This is the page number where you can refer. Then this is again the means a good video is available on this as well as this YouTube channel, YouTube links, so you can go through it. Thank you. So if you have any doubts, you can unmute yourself and you can ask.
हेलो सर.
Anyone?
सर मुझे वो लिंक नहीं आई थी सर प्रेजेंट डी की.
आई गेस आप उस टाइम पे शायद सेशन से बाहर थे.
नहीं नहीं सर सेशन में था सर, लेकिन दिख ही नहीं रही थी सर लिंक.
Okay, it was available in chat. Okay, once again I will put it in chat for 2 minutes. Those who have not attempted it, they can attempt it in 2 minutes. Okay.
Yes sir.
1 minute. If any doubt is there, please
Sir,
ask anyone.
can you repeat?
Pardon, Ruchita?
Sir, please 1 second repeat number system relationship alphabetical.
Okay, system relationship. 1 minute. I will share the that PPT first.
Yes, sir.
This one you want. Wait.
Alphabetical.
This one, right?
Yes.
This one. You want relationship
So, sir,
or
alphabetical number relationship.
are you able to see the PPT?
Yes.
Are you want to explain me this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in hexadecimal number system, what we have seen that there are 16 digits, right? So,
Yes.
and that's digit starts every time from 0. So 0 to 9, and after that we cannot take 10, because again if we write down 10, what happens? This 10 becomes a number because it has two digits, 1 and 0. So what we did, instead of taking 10, 11 and so on, I mean, those who have invented it, they have written it as A, B, C, D, E, F, because after 9 we wanted 6 digits. So A, B, C, D, E and F. This is for hexadecimal. For decimal, we have 10 digits starting from 0 to 9. Okay. After that, 9 is the highest digit. So we cannot go beyond this. Then what we have to do? From highest digit, we have to roll over to lowest digit. So after 9, we are getting 0 over here. Okay. And since we are rolled over from 9 to 0, we have to take a carry. What we normally do in our day-to-day life calculation. Okay. And then we have to continue. So after 0 again 1, so 1, 2, so 2 and so on. Okay. And carry will remain as it is. If we reach at 19 and we want to go to the next, what we have to do? We have to again roll over and we'll say 0. And we have to take one more carry, and that carry will be added in this number. So 1 plus 1 is 2. So that's why we'll get next number. Same thing happens in octal. In octal, we have 0 to 7 digits. 7 is the highest digit. So we cannot go further. So what we have to do? We have to roll over from highest digit to the lowest digit. That is 0. So after 7, we'll get 0. Since we have rolled over, we have to take a carry. That's why we have written one more carry over here, 1 0. And then again we'll continue 1 1, 1 2 and so on up to 1 7. Next time, after if I want to go from 1 7 to the next digit, next number, I have to write down 0 first. And I have to add one more carry in this, and that will be 2 0. So basically 16 in decimal will be 20 in hexadecimal, sorry, octal. Okay, got it? Any doubt in this? Ruchita?
Yes, no, it's clear.
It's clear? Okay. What will happen in
Yes.
hexadecimal is after F, F is the highest digit. So we have to write down 0. Okay. And since we have
Zero.
rolled from higher digit to the lower digit, what we have to take? Carry. Correct? So we'll write down 1 0. So 16 in hexadecimal is equivalent to 10 in hexadecimal. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other doubt? Anyone? Get it clear, because if
No,
this
sir.
thing is clear to all of you, I don't think you will face much difficulty in this digital electronics. Any other doubt? Anyone?
No, sir.
Okay. So I think we should stop over here because it's already 1.5 hours, more than 1.5 hours. So we'll stop over here. I will let you know the next lecture, and I will share the link similar to today.